So sticking with the theme of the keyboard, what I want you to now do is start thinking about event handlers. So a keyboard event handler is something that detects an action on the keyboard and it runs once. And what we're going to do is we're going to start looking at how we might type text, basically. So I need to start with my now familiar void setup, setting a size, and void draw. Done. Now, what I am going to do here is I am going to just make white and black variables just to make my code that little bit readable inside. And I'm going to set my background to be white. And I'm going to set my fill to be black. And I'm going to draw some text. So the text will say hello at position 50 on the x-axis, 300 on the y-axis, and I have my hello down there. So it's pretty small. I'll probably change the size of that. So let's change my text size to, let's try 30 and see what that looks like. Yeah, done. So that now works, but that's me displaying the text. So how can I let the user input the text? So the first thing we need to think about is, okay, how does that actually work? Well, we're going to assume that we want to register the user key whenever they release it. And so you can press the key, but it will only register as being added to my text when I let go, which is fine. And so I'm going to basically take a string. So remember, a string is text. Let's just call it text. And set it to be empty right now. And display text variable rather than my hello. Let's just put whatever I type in there. And so what I want to happen, remember the computer knows what key I just pressed, right? That is saved as a system variable. So hopefully you can remember what that system variable is called. If not, you'll see it coming up in just a second. So I've got my text and I can do text plus something. That something is key. So there's a lot to maybe unpack in this line here. So the first thing is that I have some concatenation. I have my existing text variable becomes a combination of two things. So that combination of two things is concatenation. And I am adding the key to the end of my current text value. So let's take that hello example. The first time I type the H, my text is empty, and then it becomes empty plus H. So now it's H. Then it becomes H plus E, so now it's H. Then it becomes HE plus L, so now it's HIL. And so that continues until I've typed everything I want to type, right? So if I just run this, we should see unexpected token colon. That's because it should be a semicolon. Now, currently it's empty, and so I've typed H-E-L-L-O. My name is Rachel. So we've got some interesting things here. So I've made a typing error, so I've put U instead of Y, and I have this odd square box next to R, and that's the shift key that's caused that. So we will have a look at that. So I have some tasks for you in relation to that. So tasks for you to think about to add in here are, how can I add a backspace feature so that I can correct an error and delete text from that text string? So to do that, you're going to need to investigate what a text string actually consists of. So remember, string is technically a class, so there are a bunch of functions associated with the string that you can call. So you have to go and investigate what they might be. And then you have to investigate how to identify a shift key and not include that inside the text. What I want to do is I want to show you using the enter or return key though. So what I want to make it do is that if I press hello, enter, it will clear the text so that I can write something else the second time. So to do that, I need to be able to detect my enter key or my return key. Now, it's enter on Windows or Linux, and it's return on Mac. So just making sure if that is enter, then empty the text string. So two things I need to do. First, I've only checked for enter. I need to also check for return. So to do that, I need up, so that 2 pipe characters. So in my case, they're just above my / option, or return. So the 2 pipe characters mean or. So if the key is equal to enter or the key is equal to return, do something. And then I want to empty the text string. So to empty the text string, I just set it equal to an empty string. So now what should happen is I can now say hello, or not, let's try that again. So I press enter, it will clear it, so I can now say hello, my name is Rachel, enter, blah, blah, blah. And of course it's not saving this text anywhere, but you could, if you were looking for a project, set up a text file, and every time I press enter, write that line to a text file, so I can have a record of everything that was said. That is basically how like chat functions work. That's how it saves all of the information, just one big list of text utterances. So that is, in general, the idea of this event handler, so this key released event handler. Of course, there are different versions, so it might be key pressed, so that would do it at the point at which you press. Now, this one is more interesting because some operating systems allow repeated presses and will register repeated presses. Some will only allow a single press. So change that to key pressed and see what happens on your operating system. So there's a bunch of tasks for you that I've set up, and these are included inside the example file. The first of these is to add in the backspace feature and to allow capital letters, and that's what we discovered early on. The other one is that I'd like you to try and expand this to include these 3 variables. So can you think of a way that it could be using the keyboard, it could be using the mouse, to include red, green and blue as variables within your sketch. So hopefully that's given you an overview of keyboard event handlers. In this case, we've used the key released.